do we have two of the best rear drive performance cars on sale, but they're both manual. Say what you like about the auto versions of these cars being quicker, having a third pedal and a gear shifter adds something to cars with this level of performance. So yeah, today we're going to see which of these two cars is better, but we're also going to revel in the fact that a recipe of rear drive, manual and a stonking petrol engine, it's a real joy, as we shall now demonstrate. Slapping that haloed CS badge, which stands for Coupe Sport, onto the back of the M2 is both exciting and slightly depressing. Exciting because this is pitched as the ultimate version of BMW's best car, but depressing because it signals the end of the M2 as we know it. The S55 engine is the same 3-litre 6 as the M2 competition, but power is up to 331 kilowatts. Steel brakes are standard, but carbon ceramics are optional, and every CS scores stickier Michelin Cup 2 tyres. Weight is down as well, thanks to carbon fibre in the bonnet, the roof, and the centre tunnel. So it's a lightweight special. Well, no, because while BMW has taken things away, it's also put things back in that you don't get in other M2 variants, like adaptive dampers. So all up, it weighs pretty much the same as an M2 competition at around 1550 kilos. It's actually a bit of a porker, but I mean, just look at it. Every M2 is aggressive, but this one looks like an angry bulldog with carbon and vents and M badges. And this dog's bite is even worse than its bark. Want to know the best thing about this car? It represents everything that we love about the old BMW. Right now, BMW is doing some strange things. Its cars are a little hit and a little miss. But this one, it represents everything that is good about BMW's M division. The basics are spot on. Rear-wheel drive with a limited slip differential at the back, a 6-speed manual in the middle, and the same S55 3-litre inline 6 as the M3 and the M4 up front. It actually doesn't sound that great at idle, but get some revs on board, and this is a fantastic sounding car. Do you notice the extra 29 kilowatts compared to an M2 competition? You know what? Probably not. But this car has so much low-down torque from those turbos that it always feels muscular, and it's seriously quick. The M2 recipe has been right for a long time, but this one, it's the ultimate evolution. It feels pointy, agile, and there's just something right about the size of the car. It's roughly the same length as an E46 M3, but it has a shorter wheelbase. And on the road, it feels small, nimble. So the M2 CS is, predictably, brilliant. It's right-sized, special to look at, and it's exciting and engaging to drive quickly without being intimidating. But there's a problem. An expensive problem. This car costs $139,000, and that's almost $40,000 more than the already very good M2 competition. And right now, I'm starting to wonder if it delivers enough of a step to justify the price hike, or if it's good enough to tempt people away from the one car that has dominated this segment for more than a decade. first thing to know about this car is that it's effectively an admission of guilt. After copping lots of heat for fitting turbocharged 4-cylinder engines to the Cayman and the Boxster, this car is Porsche raising its hand and going, yeah, maybe we got that one a little bit wrong. I like a car company that listens to its customers, especially if it means we get more engines like this one. It's exactly the same 4-litre naturally aspirated flat six as you get in the Cayman GT4, just with 15 less kilowatts. And my goodness, it is special. It has less power and a whopping 130 Newton meters less torque than you get in the BMW M2, but just listen to this thing. Before I drove either of these cars, I had feared that choosing which one has the best engine might be like having to choose between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, but in reality, howling flat six always trumps turbocharged straight six. But before we get carried away, let's talk about the other area where the Cayman gives the BMW a bloody nose. The fundamentals. The seating position in this car is better. The steering wheel is smaller, thinner, and nicer to hold. And the position of the gear shifter is better as well. And the way that these cars dissect a road, they couldn't be any more different. Where the M2 is bullish and aggressive and on the edge of oversteer, this Cayman is a mid-engined welterweight. At 1,405 kilos, it's 165 kilograms less than the BMW M2. And where the M2 seems to relish in being on the edge of oversteer and hunkering down on its rear axle, the joy in this car comes from being smooth and precise and chasing mid-corner speed. And yes, the gear shift action is as perfect as you'd hope. But just like the M2 CS has a problem with price, this Cayman has an issue as well. Its gear ratios. They're too tall. If you ring this car out in second gear, you're doing close to 140 k's an hour. And that means, and honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, that maybe the Cayman GTS 4-litre to buy is the PDK version. And while I complained about that M2 being expensive, this car starts at $172,000, which is 30 grand more expensive again. And this exact car, with options, 200 grand. So which of these two is the better rear drive performance car? Well, the Cayman does trump the M2 CS in a number of key areas, but honestly, the car that I would buy, it's not even here. I'd buy a normal M2 competition. It's a chunk of change cheaper than the CS, and as that car sits there, it's almost half the price. I tell you what, it's not half the car. The truth is that while these cars are similar, they deliver their thrills quite differently. The Cayman is the purer experience, but the M2 CS is a sledgehammer of power and grip, and will likely be a modern classic. You know, the very good performance cars, they do get under your skin. They make you feel like a kid again. In many ways, these cars feel old school. Hybridization and all-wheel drive is sweeping through the motoring world. And both of these cars are shining examples of the greatness you can achieve by keeping the recipe simply to 6 cylinders, a manual gearbox, and rear-wheel drive.